Hey guys, today we're going to be focusing on how to build a table and a graph given our equation. So notice that our equation is given at the very top of the table, and it's given us into that form y equals mx plus b. So this tells me immediately that my rate of change is 2, and my b, or my initial value, is 1. So I can go plot my initial value on my graph at 1, 0, 1. Then I will go up 2 to the right 1 to create my next point, up 2 to the right 1 to create my next point, and I will continue that pattern in both directions to build my line. But I also want to be able to generate a table. So these x values, these are my inputs. The y values will be my outputs. So right here with -3, this tells me that I'm going to put -3 into where x is. So instead of saying 2 times x, it's going to be 2 times -3. And then I will add 1. So I know 2 times -3 is -6 plus 1, and that gives me -5. So this output would be -5. And if you look at our graph, -3, -5 is already a point there that we've built. For our next input, -1, again, I'm going to replace x with a -1. So it would be 2 times -1 plus 1. So
Teachers,
2...
it's that time. Let's consolidate. Teachers, let's consolidate.
Sorry, guys. 2 times -1 is -2, plus 1 gives us a -1. And again, that is also on our table. Is it okay that we don't have -2, -3 in our table? Yes, it's still on our line. 0, so 2 times 0 plus 1 is just +1, which gives us that initial value on our y-axis. 2 times 3, so I'm replacing 3 with x. So I'm multiplying by 2, and then I am adding 1. So it's 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 gives us 9. So we're using the equation to build our table and then to create a graph. So let's look at one more example. So now our given equation is y is equal to -1/2 x minus 3. And we are going to use the input values given to us. My first input value is a -4, so I will replace -4 where x is. So -1/2 times -4 minus 3. And I know a negative times a negative becomes a positive. So -1/2 times -4 is a +2. And when I have 2 minus 3, that gives me an output of a -1, which I can go graph on my coordinate plane. So I find -4, -1. And then I'm going to do the same thing for -2 now. So -1/2 times -2, and then minus 3. Well, -1/2 times -2 will become a +1. Minus 3 is a -2. So my next point I graph is -2, -2. Now I can see that my line is going to be decreasing, which matches with the pattern that my rate of change is negative. When I plug 0 in, so -1/2 times 0, I know that that is 0. And then I subtract 3 to get the point of 0, -3. So I'm starting to see my line form. The next value, my next input value, and I will have -1/2 times 6 minus 3. Well, -1/2 times 6 becomes a -3. And -3 minus 3 more becomes -6. So I can plot my point Notice it skipped a lot of places I could have put dots, but my line still becomes straight and it still follows the pattern. And then my last input is 8. So I have negative 1/2 times 8. And I know half of 8 is 4. So negative half of 8 would be negative 4 minus 3 more. And that gives an output of negative 7. So I can go plot that point now. And I still see that my line is formed right there. All right, guys, and that is how we go from an equation to a table or a graph. Thank you.